Hello, and welcome to the Future of Multi-Location Healthcare Management for Dynamics 365 Business Central. Welcome to D365 Health by TMC. My name is John Hoyt. I'm the pre-sales architect here at TMC, and I'll be your guide through this video. With D365 Health, three benefits quickly come to the front. The system, being based on Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, is easy to use, it's fast to adopt, and it will greatly increase the satisfaction of your employees and staff who are using the system. Second, the ability to produce accurate and timely financial statements and reports, allowing you, the business owner, to make decisions with confidence, knowing that you're working with accurate, up-to-the-minute information. And third, as a result of the multiple locations your organization needs to manage, we've simplified that organizational structure and operations through the use of a specific tool. With D365 Health, we focus our improvements in 5 key areas. In the core financials, some basic improvements and process changes to the standard Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, the incorporation of full electronic banking to speed up both the collection and the issuing of payments, the adoption of web-based partner portals to allow you to communicate with your significant partners, either customers trying to see their activity, pay their invoices, or with your suppliers and other vendors, giving them the means to electronically submit invoices and request payments from you. A key focus is on consolidated and location-based reporting to allow you to see either the macro level or the micro level of your organization. And finally, we'll focus on the multi-location management tool itself, the specific piece that's going to make that process easier to operate, easier to manage. Let's jump in and talk about the basics within the core financials. From my Office 365 homepage, I can launch my Business Central instance. I have that open here. Now, the first step to improving your view of financials within the Business Central environment from D365 Health is going to be here on the homepage, where information that the users and the operators of the system need can immediately be brought to their attention. In some cases, that'll take the form of a graph or some other visualization of data. In other cases, it may be a stylized and summarized view of information in a type of report. As I scroll down, in other cases, we're going to gather together like transactions, quantify by how many and what value those transactions represent, or quick access to account balances, or even the use of our report generation tool to deliver reports automatically out to those end users. Again, that's all just from the home page when the user first logs in to D365 Health. Within the core financials, we want to talk a little bit about how we set up the basic financial statements. That starts, of course, with the chart of accounts. And from that chart of accounts, we're going to design not only the accounts that hold our balances, but those accounts that form the structure of our financial statements. So you'll see here a mixture of posting accounts, headings, begin totals, end totals, etc. Again, this is going to be the basis of all of our different financial statements. Now, hand in hand, of course, with the ability to run that chart of accounts is the ability to generate and operate budgets. Budgeting is built into the system, and it allows me to start to do actual versus budget comparisons. So a quick example here of what that budget might look like. And you'll see that it's laid out in a grid fashion, where right now I'm showing my lines as the account numbers, my columns are the periods that are represented. But this is truly a matrix approach to budgeting, and I can change that view And instead of looking at the periods, I might want to choose and look by business units or look by entities or some other metric or dimension that I want to use inside my financial analysis. Across the bottom are the filters that I can use. The date filter allows me to create budgets of any period that I need. That could be for the calendar year, for the fiscal year, for a longer period if I'm doing planning purposes, etc. I also have the ability, of course, to work with this in Excel. That's one of the strengths of the Business Central approach. And if I want to do my budgeting work in Excel, or if I am going to distribute this budget out to multiple department heads or location managers, then Excel would be the optimal tool for doing that kind of work. I can also do subledger budgeting if necessary, a greater level of detail around my expenses under the purchasing budget, breakdown by the vendor, for example, or a revenue-based budget that might look at something other than GL account. It's based upon a type of business or product lines or types of customers, things of that nature. Part of that core financials also includes the basics. I'm going to need to pay vendors. So if I switch over to my purchasing module and I hit the drop down there, I can open the link, create a quick purchase invoice. Now, when I first enter into that new purchase invoice, I have a lot of data that needs to be entered, or data that can be entered, only really focused though, of course, on those values that have the red star. Those are going to be the required fields. The rest of the information is available, but not necessarily required. So I can simply start to put in some information about my vendor, their name, their vendor number. It'll do that lookup for me and grab the rest of the information. The vendor's invoice number is required. And that's all I really need to enter until I come down to where I need to actually book the expense. And I'm going to book this directly to a GL account. Now, I don't know the account number off the top of my head for rent, but I can simply put in a little bit of that value, and Business Central will bring that option up for me. I can select the account I want to use, in this case just straight rent expense. Just one, maybe it's a $15,000. Now I can add additional information to this, of course. I could put in attachments. Maybe I've got a scanned image of the PDF document, something of that nature. I could also, upon completion of this transaction, request approval for it to be paid and use the standard workflow engine that Business Central makes available. As I move away from that document, Business Central will remind me that I've saved the document, not yet posted. Do I want to continue? And no, I actually do want to go ahead and post this. Let's recognize that expense and post the invoice through. At the end of that posting process, I get confirmation that was successful, always getting feedback from the system so the user is aware of where they stand in their particular process. And we can go ahead and pull up that full posted invoice. And this is now everything in gray because it's posted. It's historical information. I'll use the back arrow and return back to my list of open invoices. And if I click on the name of my company here in the top left, it'll return me back to that home page where we started just a minute ago. After the core financials, the next piece to consider is going to be electronic banking. Now, of course, Business Central can accommodate the standard paper-based banking we're all familiar with, but in today's world, electronic banking is both faster, it can be more secure, and it really allows us to keep that up-to-the-minute thumb impression where we are with that company. Now, electronic banking is fully supported by Dynamics 365 Business Central, and we're simply going to leverage that here within our D365 Health implementation. I'm going to return to the Finance drop-down here on my home page, and we can simply talk about With electronic banking, we get the added benefits of